This build features content from a pack that I got for free through the EA Creator Network. And today I am building a starter home in Strangerville, which I actually built a month ago, I think. It was around when Business and Hobbies came out. And I wanted to do some gameplay to like play around with the new features. And so I was like, you know what? I haven't played in Strangerville in a while. So I'm going to build a house for my sim. And usually I don't really cheat money at the start of my games because I normally lose interest if my Sims just have a bunch of money. And so I wanted to make a starter home that also had a space underneath that would eventually function as a business once I like made enough money to open one. So the downstairs is more of like a fixer upper business. You'll see later on in the video that there isn't much down there. There's a lot of just like damage on the walls. There's some empty counters, a back storage room, and a bathroom, and that's it. Because I also didn't know what I wanted to do for my gameplay yet. I ended up trying out the like tattoo career for my business that I was doing. And so I didn't like play around with it way too much, but I did end up getting enough money to open the business and start decorating it. And so like you can really make the space at the bottom literally anything that you want. I also feel like I had like an inspiration picture that I was working with when I was doing this, but I might have just pieced together a bunch of different builds. I probably was looking up like small town desert business. That's probably what I was like Googling. And it like helped me to at least put some sort of shape down here. And I also looked around Strangerville a little bit to get an idea for what some of the buildings looked like. But I got a little bit too far in this to have been able to actually like take some of those sorts of things that I'd seen around. But I do end up really liking the shape of this build. I think it's also the perfect size. Like the business is pretty small, which I felt like made sense, especially if it's like a fixer-upper business and it's going to be like a starter home at the top. I didn't want it to be like a huge build. And if it was a huge build, it would have meant that I could have used less items inside. And the downstairs is pretty empty, but I feel like the apartment has enough in it to make it not feel like really horrible. Like the bedroom really just has a bed and like bedside tables and a dresser, and that's it. But I still fit in a desk, and I feel like I put in an expensive laptop. I might have switched the laptop out for like the slightly cheaper computer, but I feel like I kept the laptop in. And I did go for like green accents for the exterior of this build because I really liked the swatches of it. And I actually really love the back of the build. I think it's my favorite part of the exterior. I was also trying to use a lot of the Business and Hobbies expansion pack because this was built when the pack came out, and I was planning on actually posting it like a while ago, and I completely forgot about it. And then when I was like going through my videos I was deleting, I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot that I had a starter home that I had built because it's been so long and I haven't really touched that gameplay like file since, so I completely forgot that it existed." And this week I was like not really going to build because I had to like save my inspiration for another thing that I was working on. And I was like, wait a minute, I this is the perfect time for me to post this build because I do like it enough to share it as a speed build. Like sometimes if I'm building a starter home for my own gameplay, I'll always like record it just in case I want to share it. And usually I just like I don't even share it. But this one, I was like, no, this one is nice enough. And I feel like I must still have some videos on my computer or my hard drive of other starter homes. And maybe if I look back at them, be like, yeah, that could be another video. And I feel like 20 minutes is a good length for a video anyway. And I really love starter homes. I love seeing people create starter homes. I love making starter homes. It always feels like a very fun challenge, especially with just like making sure you get everything in it. And I always like going back in and being able to add a little bit of clutter here and there, like the cheap clutter, and just try and make it look as lived in as possible, which I just really love starter homes. And I always use like debug stuff for the exterior. So the exterior always at least looks really nice because I have stuff that costs 0 simoleons, which is pretty much all of this landscape, I hope, or like because I know that normally the cactus items can be pretty pricey. So I think I might have limited some, but because it's been so long, I really just don't remember how much money I spent on these things, which I guess we are seeing now. I think some of them costs some money for the like more like cactus sort of things. And I really don't know how to landscape for like Strangerville or desert. So I was just like looking around the lot and I was just like, okay, there's using these flowers. There's a lot of purple, so I mixed in like elements that weren't actually in the world, but I felt like fit in. Like I think these purple like bushes. I don't know what that is, but I think it's from Life and Death, and it blended in well with the flowers that I had seen around without it looking like I just kind of copy and pasted it. And I really liked that. So I was like, yeah, this is perfect. I was also thinking about my friend Molly, who always built really beautiful desert homes. And so I was like, I feel like she would use these sorts of things. And I was just trying to make it look as full as possible without like making it feel really messy. And for this video, I'm just gonna have a lot less to say about my intentions when I was building this and why I picked certain things because it's been a while and I really don't remember any of it. Like, I'm pretty sure that these cactuses or like cacti, they definitely cost money, but I feel like I had to use them because I thought it made the outside look really nice, and I was going to just, like, sacrifice some other cheaper stuff after. And I do remember trying to place down the solar panel because I really liked the look of the rust, but it looked really expensive. It's 950 simoleons, but I really wanted it. And so I was like, you know what? It looks so nice. I'm just going to have it here. And it's okay because the build ends up being like 18,000 simoleons. Of these like more expensive things I put in was the reason why the like store downstairs didn't have more in it. But I do like how it just like accidentally became a fixer upper of just like a plain like starter business down below that has like no personality and it's not like meant to be anything, and whoever downloads this could kind of just do their own thing with it and they won't have to like rearrange what I had put down there because I didn't put that much down there. I do remember now though that when I was recording this that I wanted to put pictures of what I turned the business into, so I'm gonna have to remember to do that. It's not like that exciting because I didn't play for way too long. I got a little overwhelmed with the businesses and how it was running because I opened it and immediately there was a whole bunch of people outside and I was just like, this isn't realistic. My sim just moved in. She's like opening her tattoo parlor and she has like no skill either. And you're telling me there's 10 people waiting outside to be tattooed by her. It like kind of pulled me out of my storyline. But I will take a couple of pictures and add it to the end. I went for like a pink theme for it. She has like a pink lava lamp, I remember. I think she had like the pink tattooing table. I don't know. There isn't a lot down there, but I did like the like sort of atmosphere I was creating when I was playing that like gameplay save. I wrote down in my planner to take pictures of it so I don't forget because every time I do a voiceover and I'm like, I should do this. And then I stop doing the voiceover, and the idea leaves my head completely, and then I forget about it, and then I feel like a liar because I said one thing and then I just didn't remember to do it. But I wrote it down this time, so it should be in. Even if it's really ugly, you'll just have to understand that I didn't play it for that long, so I didn't have a lot of money for it. But for the rest of the exterior, I was just making it look as dirty as possible. All this stuff is free pretty much, I believe. I think it's only like the Strangerville slime that is $5 to use, and I don't think I used any of that. Also, you could see my random CC I have of BTS like in my game. This shows how long ago this was because this was when my mods were broken and I had like taken out Better Build Buy without disabling it. And so all my CC was kind of just showing up all the time. CC I forgot I had, by the way, because it's always filtered out. And then when when my mods had to be updated, when the expansion came out, I had remembered that I had all of it in there, and it's still in there, still haven't taken it out. So, like, I'm never gonna take out any of the CC even though I don't really use it. But now we're doing the interior of the builds. Very simple, small kitchen. Has everything that you need though. A very cheap stove and fridge. There's a sink and a counter to prepare food on, and that's it. I don't think I have a dining room table in this build. The build is way too small for that. But, there's just a couch. And most of the time, my Sims always eat at the computer. So there's a desk, and that's where they'll probably end up eating. And a well, everything's small in this build, but a little bathroom there's just one bedroom in this one. All of this is a double bed. But I feel like the bathroom, it also just has enough space. Normally I do like a shower and bathtub like situation, but it wouldn't fit. And I was just like, why am I so afraid of using showers in my builds? And it's because I don't like any of the shower options, is what I've realized. And so every time I make a bathroom, I always make sure that there's enough space for one of the like showers and tubs. So I don't have to like pick one of the showers out because I really just don't like how they look. And like there's nothing wrong with them because that shower fits in so well there. But for some reason, it feels like out of place for me. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just like all of the glass around it, like on each of the walls that throws me off whenever I use a shower. I think that's it. Cause like in real life, you go into a shower and it's like the tile back of the wall. And then when I'm looking at that one, I'm just like, there's just glass panels looking at a wall and I don't like it. And so that's also part of why I never use it. And this was when I was using this floral wallpaper so much with business and hobbies because it had just came out. I almost used it in next week's build video too, but I ended up like switching it out for I think a base game one. Also, some of this furniture changes when I start running out of money. Like that couch that I had placed, I swap out for a base game 2-seater love seat because it was cheaper. Because like this couch, I had to buy two separate pieces of it, which made it kind of expensive for a starter home. It looks nice, but like, I don't know, the other one doesn't make that much of a difference. I also have to change out that like rack of clothing that I put there, which it looks better when I remove it anyway because I do more of just like an open closet with one of like the hanging clothes options that we have with a mirror next to it. It makes it feel a lot like lighter too, and like it's brighter colors. I think it had like a lot of yellows and blues in the clothing, which helped to not make the space feel like a dark closet. Whereas like the other ones were these large bags of clothes as soon as you walk into the apartment. And the bedroom here really doesn't have a lot, but I feel like I kind of make up for that because there's like one floral wall that helps it to look a little bit busier, which maybe would actually just make it feel even smaller to have a busy wall like that. But I really liked how it like broke up the room a little bit and it wasn't just all this like beige like walls with holes everywhere. And I do have like two of the business and hobby side tables with just some like small pieces of clutter, which were pretty cheap. And like, I feel like in this game, we need more just single tile dressers because like you see that I kind of just put one in, but I was going through so many different things to try and get something to go there. And I once again just had to go with the horse ranch one because we don't have a lot of options. And I know that like one single dresser we have is very expensive. It looks very fancy and like an old antique. And I don't remember what some of the other ones are. And then there's a horse wrench one that has a mirror on it, but I feel weird about having mirrors facing like beds even in The Sims. And I can't bring myself to do it. So I always use that one horse ranch one. I don't actually even remember if we have more options outside of those two ones. I'm sure we have like at least one other single tile dresser, but it's not nearly enough. But I have always liked the horse ranch one anyway. It is a favorite of mine and I use it all of the time, that one and the mirrored one. And like I'm pretty sure the other single tile one we have that's not base game is from the tiny home decorator and it just didn't fit into the style that I wanted. Well, maybe it would have. I don't know. I think I'm just drawn to these anyway. Like I'm using the horse ranch rack over here as well. And that's one of the things where I usually never use just the hanging clothes in my builds because I never really know where to find all of the like shelves that you can use for it. And I don't know how many of these ones we have that go on the floor and aren't wall shelves because I never look too much into it. But I think that the apartment upstairs is now done. Uh, Before I had around like 16,000 simoleons. And yeah, you could see that I'm zoning everything to like work with business and hobbies. Because I was doing this as soon as, like, not as soon as the pack came out, but the week the pack had come out and like I am probably using some of these items for like almost the first time where I'm trying to use more of them because it was brand new and I was thinking of doing like pottery downstairs and then I didn't end up doing that. I think it might have been also because I just forgot that that's what I was maybe wanting my sim to eventually do, which I haven't even done the pottery stuff at all if with the pack. I did the tattoo stuff and I think that's all I really did for gameplay. I need to like really be in the mood for gameplay for me to be like fully immersed into it though. So it makes sense that I haven't really like explored that side of the pack very much. But now for downstairs, I just have a very like small bathroom in the back of this like I was imagining it would have been like an old convenience store down here that is for sale. And so there's just like a storage space and a bathroom. That's why I kind of had the counters down there. And you could see that I switched out some more stuff because of the pricing. And even did I change the computer? No, okay. I kept the computer the same. And I have 1,000 like 300 simoleons just about to spend on the downstairs. I'm sure I left some like money left over, especially because like when you're moving in, your sim needs to be able to afford some food. So I don't think I went to like the exact low amount. I could have because it's been so long, I really don't remember, but when I did the gameplay, I feel like I had enough money for my sim to cook, and she was just doing single, like, meals to get by while she was, like, a lifeguard, I think I had her have, like, 2 part-time jobs because I forgot that that was the thing as well. So I don't know, I guess we'll see when all these items are in, how much money I ended up actually leaving over for this. Like, I feel like these counters are pretty pricey, but I wanted to at least like fill in the space a little bit. I didn't want it to just be completely empty. And I was making sort of like a gate area where like employees would go through. And I did that just by putting some fences and a gate next to the counters. So I thought that looked the most natural for this build. And tables that looked like they're just like you could just fold them up and pack them away. That's what I was going for when I was picking out the stuff in here. And a bunch of spider webs and anything to make the place feel a little bit more run down and dirty. For like my sim, I was starting to make this place, like, very pink themed, so I put a bunch of, like, pink accent walls around, well, a bunch, it was probably, like, 3 pink accent walls down here, which I did take the pictures of already. They're at the very end of the video, so you'll actually be able to see how I was starting to develop the space, like, later on. I also really liked being able to just put a bunch of, like, rusty metal outside and anything that looked like random supplies and garbage. And I've never used this base game terrain paint. I I feel like I don't know if this like was added into like a later base game update or what, but I've never really used this before. And I guess I wouldn't really have a reason to use it because this one feels like very Strangerville to me. Like I wouldn't have a reason to use this anywhere else. But that was one thing that, like a long time ago when I was building in Strangerville, I found it difficult to pick out terrain paint because we don't really have anything that like blends in with that like orangey color that is really beautiful about Strangerville. I just placed some more of these rocks around, which I believe are free rocks. And I was looking to see like other fence options, but I really think that the fences that I have right now are really nice. I think it defines the space well without just like be going overboard and having like way too much going on back there. But I do go a little overboard with some more holes in the walls because I could just space out and I could just put a bunch of holes in a wall is what I've learned. And now I am just like picking out smaller pieces of clutter that I can put around. And that was it because I remember my game crashed and my recording got corrupted. So I didn't have any more of it. But we're going to see the pictures. So these are the what I had done with it. So you could see I didn't get very far, but she did decorate a little bit and I included a picture of my sim. She was eating something there. I did see that there was around 200 simoleons left, so there's some money to work with the starter home. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll have a collab build posted next week. So yeah, I'll see you then. Bye.